You're watching in 3D how a technology called LiDAR can strip away trees and expose the raw reality below, the bare earth, including landslides. Abby Gleason is a LiDAR manager for the Washington Geological Survey.
What's unique about LiDAR, of course, is getting the ground structure underneath all the foliage.
When dirt moves, created a situation that made for a Washington tragedy on March 22nd of 2014. That's when a hillside soaked with months of rain turned into a fast-moving landslide. It blasted through the Steelhead Haven neighborhood on the Stillaguamish River. 43 people died. It's the deadliest landslide in U.S. history.
The LiDAR image for this valley is really telling.
Dave Norman worked the Oso slide as the state's chief geologist, and LiDAR images taken using millions of tiny data points from specially equipped camera planes shows not only the Oso slide in brown, but evidence of older slides hidden by forests.
We've added color to it to highlight where the landslides are in this valley, but without the LiDAR, it becomes much more of an uncertain estimate of where things are and how far they've run out.
That not only gives us elevation data across the country, but gives higher resolution and more detail than technology that was used 30 years ago.
Washington Democrat Susan DelBene's congressional district includes Oso, and she's sponsoring the National Landslide Preparedness Act, which passed the House this week.
A bipartisan piece of legislation. It's supported by many across the country because the tragedy that took place in our state could happen many other places.
The survey office, which is part of the State Department of Natural Resources, along with the University of Washington, provided a lot of the expertise that went into the bill, which after previous tries now appears to have a good chance of becoming law.
They see it's not just important in Washington, this is a national issue.
And with that may come national standards. More than $7 million in state money and $2 million in federal have gone into the LiDAR surveys in Washington state so far. DelBene estimates $40 million would be needed for a national LiDAR effort. But Norman says there is benefit in doing LiDAR surveys every 5 years because the Earth is moving in places very subtly. LiDAR can pick up that change and provide a warning when it's time to get out of the way. In Olympia, Glenn Farley, King 5 News.